Melanie, the Hip Hop Scholar, and welcome to another powerful episode of the Hip Hop Scholar Podcast, where culture meets scholarship and truth takes center stage. Today's guest embodies what it means to live with determination and to speak with purpose. Christena Francis is an advocate for the underrepresented, lifting voices that too often go unheard. She is a champion for the good, standing tall when others shrink, carrying light into the darkest spaces. And she is a crusader for these times, moving with courage, clarity, and compassion in a world that urgently needs leaders who are unafraid to stand for justice. Her work stretches beyond titles, beyond roles, and well beyond expectation, because she is driven by something deeper. A determination to see justice realized, a commitment to community, and a belief that advocacy rooted in love can transform the world. This conversation is more than an interview. It is a living archive of resistance, an offering to the culture, and a blueprint of what it means to stand firmly in one's power. Her determination is not quiet. It roars. It refuses to be ignored. And in that roar, we hear the call for a new generation to rise, to lead, and to create the world that they deserve. Christena Francis embodies the spirit of possibility and proves that advocacy is both a responsibility and a gift. So lean closer, take this in, and prepare to be inspired. The Hip Hop Scholar Podcast proudly presents Christena Francis, a woman of purpose, power, and unwavering determination. We welcome you, my dear.
It's me.
Absolutely. That's right. That's right. How are you today, Christena?
I'm wonderful. How are you?
I'm doing so well. Thank you so much for asking and joining us here. Well, we're more than just talking about the music of hip hop. Hip hop creates this culture of growth and empowerment, and you truly embody that spirit of trying to change the culture. So, in your work in advocacy in our hometown of Shreveport, what led you into that role of advocacy? What got you started into bringing the underrepresented communities into the limelight?
So I think my biggest thing is this. I am a product. I call myself like a little gumbo. I'm a product of the people and the community that raised me. When I was younger, I had my mom. So my life was a little different. So I had my mom, and then she got sick when I was 16, and the community had to take over. All community. And it was the community who gave me a voice. It was the community who finished raising me. The ladies of the community helped me learn how to be a lady, because it happened at 16. So right when you're having that you're right out of puberty, well, not out of puberty, but you're right out of, I'm a middle school teacher, so I call it the new hormones that you're learning to discover. So you're right out of discovery, and you're right into that place where you're starting to lay your foundation of morals and values and what's truth to you and what's not. That's when the community kicked in. So I learned how to cook and how to be a lady and how to walk in my femininity based on the women around me. I learned what I should expect from a man, how I should present myself to men, how I should present myself to the world. I learned that from the community that was around me. And so I'm a firm believer that family, it doesn't always have to be blood. These people became my family, my big brothers, my cousins, my uncles, my pops, my grandpa, like all of these things happened and gave me a shot. I worked at Hancock's, and it was the older ladies there who, made sure that I went to college. It was the guy I was dating at the time. His mom made sure I had a bed, like stuff for my bed, and made sure. That's all community. None of those people were blood related to me. It was all community. And not that my family didn't do anything, but I don't come from this big muddiest family reunion, as I would like to call it. I don't come from that. And so the community gave me that. And that's what made me be like, oh, okay, reach back and strengthen your brother. It's to me, that's my calling. That's my job. You're not supposed to get there and then be there alone. You're not supposed to get there and then say, well, oh, who on everybody else? No, it's my job to reach back. So I speak to children. I speak to adults. I learn from elders, and elders learn from me. It's just what I believe, pretty much. That's what I believe.
And that's a wonderful, I mean, a very intriguing belief system, Christina, to know that, years and decades worth of investing in self, giving you that chance to be able to grow and be this entity to the world that you absolutely are, to allow to let your light shine, and then, all kinfolk, all skin folk and kinfolk, and blood being thicker than water, family has many different faces, and that's very true. When we think about community, we have to think about our environment and everyone who's around us, and thankful to everyone who is our family, whether related through blood or just related through the happenstance of what's occurring around us. Right?
And also, let me say this. Let me
Mm-hmm.
take some time to say this. I know this is off script, but let me take some time to say this. Let's talk about how we met. We met through community.
Yes.
So at the time, of course, my late husband, I was dating my late husband, and he said, I want to introduce you to my sister Mel. And I remember, you probably won't remember this. I remember the outfit. I remember everything. But I remember I didn't have a way to work. And you said, Christina, you can borrow my car. You'll take me and Omar to school. And then, no, I didn't have a way to an interview. And you said at the dinosaur bite, I'm going
Yeah.
to take your back. I'm going to take your back. The dinosaur bite.
Oh, girl.
Take your own back. We was at the Briggs, and you told me, you said, you can take me and Omar to school. Just make sure you pick us up on time. Go to your interview and get your job because you need a way to take care of yourself. And at that time, you took me under your wing. So, you know, I don't know if I ever got to say thank you, but I thank you.
You are
So when
welcome.
we talk about community,
That
that was community. And
Yes, ma'am.
we talked about a lot of things, and you shared your experience at that, because Omar was small, so you know what I'm talking about. Like, you shared some things with me at that time. You were at that time, you weren't, you were undergrad, mentor teacher male,
Mm-hmm.
and so
Mm-hmm.
and
Struggling
so
male. You can say it struggling. Yes.
hey, so there were you shared your struggles with me and told me,
Mm-hmm.
like, hey, don't take this route, don't do this. You know, it's tough. I'm going to get through this thing, but you're young and you're budding and you're starting. And you gave me advice as a young woman to another young woman. You know, you were a little bit older, but you gave me that advice. So thank you. Clearly, your seeds were sown, and we are now at harvest time. So thank you. I don't have no claps, but
Oh, girl, when I tell you I appreciate that so much, I remember the dinosaur bite of that
the
Ford Taurus.
dinosaur bite.
Oh my goodness. When I tell you the
Young
struggle,
Legend, Get Lifted. That was the album.
right? Yes. Yes. Man, John Legend, Get Lifted. I mean, we played that on repeat, and it was CDs still then. We
And
had
was
the music being the soundtrack, right? And shout out to the late great Stanley Francis as well, who was truly a hip hop hero as a DJ in the city, and really, music just was one of those things that it helps throughout the struggle. And I appreciate you so much to bring that into this forefront of this conversation, Christina, because it's a gift from me to give back to others with this podcast, where we get to talk about the music, we get to see the new artists, we get to talk about the old school artists, and the reality of how it really became a coping mechanism, and really that opportunity to have that soundtrack when life be life. And girl, let me tell you, uh Omar now has his own apartment, and yeah, yes, we are that. Yes, man. He is a senior in college. He is a grown ass man. And I laughed because I was like, "Ooh, I got to tell Christina." Guess what he got in his pantry at home?
what? Not black beans. Not black beans. Cause
Yes,
that
ma'am.
baby loves some black beans. To this day. What the meme say? To this day.
To this
To this
day,
day.
black
My boy,
beans. Yeah.
listen. Black beans.
Yes, black beans.
Crazy work. Crazy.
But again,
Crazy.
but him being rooted and supported and growing, and through all that he's been through, being a staunch supporter of his little brother,
Girl,
him
you got a man. That's a grown man now.
grown man. He is 22. He's 22 years old now. And I mean, very proud. You would be very proud of Omar to see him now. And even my youngest baby, I mean, they are growing in this facet where the community is so important. That's why, again, for this podcast, for this opportunity, I reached out to you because of the greatness that you are doing and continue to grow into, and the seeds that you are sowing into others. And, that Sankofa and going back into those memories and into those realities and all of our challenges. I mean, we both had some very real challenges that we were navigating at a very young time. So when we speak to young ladies, young men, young people to figure it out, like, what are some things you want to make certain that they have that maybe we didn't see or maybe even didn't have ourselves at that time?
It was preached to us: go to college, go to college, go to college, go to college, go, 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 go. And it may be different for some. My mom told me about making good decisions. I don't think that we have enough conversation about effective decision making, and that it doesn't start after college or after high school. Effective decision making, being a educator in the school system, starts in middle school. I don't care what you say, it started in middle school. It's whatever parents are afraid of starts happening in the 6th grade. It starts happening right then. So you really gotta start telling your children how to make an effective decision. You gotta start telling them how to see past here. This all they see. This is it. That's it. I can't even see the computer with my hand in front of my face.
That's right.
So my mom would always tell me, if I can raise you to make a good decision when I'm not looking, then I did my job.
There you go.
Because I won't always be there to make you do what's right. I won't always be there to give you the guidance. I won't always be there to see you through. So I got to do everything I can today as if I'm not here. And it's crazy because she would sit there and she would go, oh, one day I'm not going to be here. And da-da-da. And you'd be like, Mama, you're not going to die tomorrow. Like, what are you talking about? As a young person, but then at 16, I was able to carry myself. I was able to carry myself. I had discernment to meet good people. I had not everything I needed, but I had a big enough container of knowledge and experience and understanding to where I could float myself,
That's right.
And so, how to make a good decision that YOLO could be your last, that crash out culture. If the kid, you be preaching. I do, because it is what it is. Principles are principles, laws are laws, spiritual laws, principle laws, moons, rocks, whatever. Everybody has a thing that they respect. Whatever you respect, they have a law and a system. There are laws in their systems. And the laws and the systems are this: words have power. I don't care what it is, what religion, what belief, it's you create from here. So when you're saying crash out culture, understand they made crash dummies to see what they could take and they crash. But their goal is never to last. So when you're in the culture of I'm about to crash out, you do understand that one day you're gonna crash out and you're not gonna get to return from that.
That's right.
You do understand, like, in making them understand, like, I get it. Everybody wants to be an influencer. Everybody wants to be. You're gonna have to put in some work, kid.
That's right.
You're gonna have to. Or you gonna get on the internet and be the next meme of foolishness. And those things don't last long. They look like they last long, but they don't last long.
That's right.
Helping them understand, like, structure is needed and necessary. You cannot do what you want to do and get what you really think you want to. You're going to have to follow before you lead sometime.
That's right.
You're going to have to. Like, there are core things that and I understand where it comes from. I don't want you to live the life I live. I don't want you to walk in my trauma. I don't want you to. I get that. I understand that. But there's some core things that you have that really set foot. How many times have you heard a mother complain about how she has to show up for her kid in their old age? You know what you said? You said, my son has his own apartment, and you know what he has in his cabinet? Black beans. Well, who else was cooking the black beans for him?
His mother, sure enough. And at that
When he
time,
goes
he
to the
didn't have a
tournament,
father. At that time, he did not have a father figure to give him that support. So yeah, he learned them black beans and a lot of things from, trying to stay positive during the struggle. You're right.
you know what I didn't hear you say? I didn't hear you say I support him at his apartment. You said he has his own.
That's right.
And not saying that you don't help your son, not saying that you, but I know you gave your son the tools because you know what it's like to be a man in America. You know what it's like to be a black man in America. You know what it's, I know that you're a mother that gave your child the tools. But man, like as moms, you got to teach your son, like you're going to be a leader one day. He's not supposed to be your husband, but a leader. So just telling them like those key principles.
That's right. Those key principles and making them be able to stand on their own. I think you say it so wisely, Christina, when you're saying about making wise decisions. There are rules and regulations in every aspect, and also having it for self, having these boundaries. One thing I saw, in our hometown audience, we're both from the same place, born and raised, Shreveport, Louisiana. One thing that I just recently saw in the news was that fight on Cross Lake Bridge, where those ladies, that girl, immediately when I first saw that video, I was like, wait a minute, that's Louisiana. And then at first I was like, is that New Orleans? But that doesn't look like that bridge in New Orleans. And they were like, no, that's Shreveport. That's Cross Lake.
Yes.
And then seeing what the chaos of it, the thing that resonated with me the most is that that's not uncommon. To have that crash out culture, as you say, to where you will stop in the middle of traffic on a bridge on top of a lake, and there are trucks that are, going 65 miles per hour, but you have to crash out behind some type of disrespect or being upset behind something, to the point where you'll stop the car, get out the car, film this fight, and risk it all when there's such a grander future ahead where they can't see past what's in
Ahead.
front of them.
I'm gonna mess you up. They're fighting on a bridge on a lake. If you look to the left or the right, if you look either way, do you understand that there are $1 million waterfront properties by them?
Say it. Say it.
So you fighting on a bridge and you're right here. But literally, if you turn your head, you could see better. You could see something else that you could expect, that you could aspire to be, to grow to, whatever. Like, bro, y'all fighting. Y'all fighting on Cross Lake. People own property on this lake. And y'all fighting. Like, really?
And there's no reason why us can't have that on there, but us can be in our own way. And so those changes, again, you are one of those leaders in the community that truly showcase what it means to give back to the youth, to still bring up self. And then being a middle school educator, that there is profound as it is, but there are many different things that you do in the community. I think most recently you had the cereal.
Oh, Serious Saturday, yeah. It's
Yes.
it's a monthly thing now. So yeah,
Tell us
like I
about
told
that,
you when I get
please.
off the phone. All right, so Serial Saturday it's at Vine on Texas,
Okay.
and it's downtown Shreveport, and Sylvester Marshall is the owner, black owned bookstore. We were talking one day, I walked in and I saw this venue, and I literally, when I say I fell in love, I fell in love. And I was like, this is going to be something big. And so me being the persistent girl that I am, sir, I want to be a part of your vision. That's it. That's all. I just want to be a part of your vision. And so I asked him, I said, hey, I build Legos. I have this idea. Can I have this event in your venue? Sure, whatever you need. Bet. So it started there. And I was talking about tutoring one day, and he was like, how about, you tutor here? And when he said it, I was like, like in real life, like exclusively, like this will be my spot, like Learning Made Easy can sit up here. And he was like, yeah, as a matter of fact, in August, do the back to school edition for the Serial Saturday. And that's how I got started. So Serial Saturday, he's an 80s baby, and he wanted to bring back watching cartoons on Saturday morning and eating cereal. And so literally during the event, you got Schoolhouse Rock, you got Fat Albert, you got all of these old school cartoons around. You got children playing learning games. So I got dominoes because my grandfather, my whole love for math happened with my grandfather. I would do payroll in the checkbook register and all of these different things. And he had a domino shack. So I had a domino table where you could learn how to add, subtract, multiply, and divide with dominoes. I had different little card games. I had a reading station. I brought my sister on because I believe in legacy. I really want to change the trajectory of our family. And just me and her, period. Like let's do something different. If we educators, let's like change the world. And that's kind of our little inside thing, like changing generations with education. Um, and so that's what it's about. So you got learning stations and learning games. You got, of course, you got a brick bar because Legos are my thing. And the children come out, they get free cereal and breakfast. Looking for sponsors if you're watching. Looking for sponsors. Come buy some cereal for the babies. But they get free cereal and breakfast, and they get to watch cartoons, and they get to color. I have artists on deck, and it's a every month thing, and I'm super excited about it. I'm super excited for my team to be a part of it. And it's a really good fun event on Saturday, and it's absolutely free 99. So you don't pay anything. The kids get up hungry, you can bring them out in your jammies. We not judging nobody. We just want the kids to come out and eat and learn some things. Here's the thing. I also wanted to give the parents an opportunity to see learning in a different facet.
Right, right.
A lot of parents were like, I didn't even know some of these things existed. Yes. And you can sit down and play these things with your children and build fluency. Like kids get tired of pen and paper. Kids get tired of sitting down in front of a teacher, but I tell you what, they want to win. They definitely want to win. So make a game out of it. And I saw one little baby in my preschool because I put the preschoolers in a section by themselves. And they were doing the little matching where you flip over the cards. And sis was stressed. Sis was like, "Oh, I gotta win." And I was like, "You gotta win." She was like, "Yeah, I should win. I should win." Because they're learning their words. I gotta win. I gotta win. I want a boat. So she would flip it over, and it would be a blue boat and a red boat. But you had to get a blue boat and a blue boat, or a red boat and a red boat. And so the person at the table would communicate with her, no, 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 you got to try again. You want both boats to look alike. And for her parent to see, like, oh, she understands it's a boat, but she didn't understand how to put it together. I was able to pull the parent to the side and say, hey, that's a standard. So when your child leaves this grade, there are set things that this child needs to know. That's a preschool standard. That's why I put it there. And I grouped the sections by standard so I could talk about that thing. Like, that they teach to the test. We don't like the test. Well, here's the thing about the test. If the child comes to school every day, there are things that the child is supposed to know. I know they say it's a standardized test. I know it. But if I came to work every day and I put it all out there, any teacher will tell you how tired we are in the month of August and September.
That part, yeah.
That leave score is my report card to say you did what you were supposed to do.
Mm-hmm.
You came to rock the party and you did that thing. And so it was also an opportunity for that, to actually talk to parents and change their perspective on homework. How many times have you heard a parent say, I don't want to do homework?
Oh, yeah.
It's too much. It's too this. It's too that. No, we gotta, and like you said, advocate. One person, one parent at a time, one child at a time. Just getting the information out there that education is important. I don't care about AI. I don't care about what you. Education is important and will always be important.
Very much so. Oh my goodness. All of that, such richness when it comes to community. Shout out to Sylvester Marshall for providing that venue for that vision, especially when we talk about educating students, but also the parents, right? Making certain the parents understand exactly what the expectations are for their children, because, I'm in higher education and I have some college students that come in and they don't have those skills. They've dealt with coping mechanisms for decades even. And so having to build that critical thinking and then kind of go back a little bit to where, you should have learned this a long time ago, but it's okay. Let's you do a very organic way. And I love how you share, Christina, how organic it is, where it's a fun time. It's not, a multiple choice worksheet or another worksheet for them to do, but it's in a relaxing environment, a free environment where you get to be yourself. And I think that's also very key and connects with the paradigm of hip hop, where we get to see people that look like us. We get to hear things said in the way that we say things, in that discourse and in the way that we speak, especially with that young lady when she's learning how to match. That's a critical thinking piece. Just like you said, that is a standard. I think you all call it GLEs in Louisiana. That's a GLE that she has to learn, but in an environment where she can learn. And that again shows that you are a champion for good, Christina, because if without that, how can our children learn if they are uncomfortable, if they're in a space where the expectation is very different? And in those spaces, right, since we do talk about hip hop, is there any music that you all play? I'm so thankful for those cartoons, that old school cartoons that you're playing. But is there also an opportunity for them to kind of dance and unwind and show those
I
TikTok
will
dances?
always have a DJ in the place. Music is a part of my everyday life. So we had DJ Rob Real. He's from Shreveport. You might know him from Northwestern Natchitoches, but DJ Rob Real was there, and he was playing all the kid bops, all the kid bops. So he kind of mixed a little bit in and out. You'll hear Grace's Corner, and then you might hear Lil Maze and Frankie Beverly. You'll hear what is Yum Yum, Eat 'em Up, whatever that was, and then you'll hear something else. So yes, I did have a DJ in the place. And I always will. I always have music because some people have to learn with music. You can teach things in a beat. I was looking at, and it's funny that you say that. Did you have music as an element? I was watching A Different World the other day, and there were different elements of hip hop throughout A Different World. There were different elements of music. Fresh Prince had, I remember they had Bill DeVoe and uh Boys to Men. I remember watching House Party, and House Party had, there were elements of hip hop through all things. All things. And it was to give, not only give hip hop that voice, but to also show positivity. And I remember House Party because I went to this event, and I remember looking at Queen Latifah and being like, man, like she really represented something positive. She was not backing down off her off her image, off her in I don't think I ever really seen her cleavage ever, not even living sing. Like I can't remember a
Right?
time when I saw her out there like that. And not saying that there's something wrong with that, but I was like, man, she was about her image. I went to another event. We do have a lot of music and art events here. I went to another event, and they talked about Sade, and Sade was like, I will put my music out when I put my music out. I will do it on my terms in my times. And when I do, the people gonna show up. And so hip hop, R&B, neo soul, there is a independence that artists will show. The Some show. I'm gonna say some because I'm grown. Fight me on it. There's an independence that some show,
There you go.
and that independence, it drives you to listen to them because you made me wait all this time for you to come out with it. I got to hear what you got to say. I got to hear what you got to say. You got to say something important because you're not coming with the regular Douglas. So let me listen to something on different. Let me find my repeat, or is it a cover to cover? And so man, hip hop is so important. So important. Chance the Rapper the other day was like, I was on the IEP. I was in special ed.
I saw
I
that.
used to
Yeah.
have to go to little bitty classes. I used to have to, and he talked about not being ashamed to get what you need. How often have you been in the classroom where I have to tell my children, every year I become a better teacher. Every year I have a challenge. And this year my challenge was removing the fear from my classroom. It didn't work. I'm still who I am. Who I am. But I often find myself saying, like, I'm supposed to teach you. You're supposed to ask me questions. It's my job to answer your questions. I'm never going to fuss at you. No question is stupid if you actually ask the question. Now, if I didn't say it 10 times, I might crack a little joke every now and then, but then I'm going to make sure you smile. Like,
Exactly.
now how
Yeah.
many times, where was it in your notebook the last time I told you? Go
Hmm.
to, put the stick in there right there. But man, it's just, hip hop has what it takes to change things because it's such a loud voice.
It is. It absolutely is. I appreciate you bringing, and we have to shout out Queen Latifah because in our generation, we grew up seeing her. Ladies First, UNITY, Living Single, from the rap videos to the TV shows to the movies, and she always represented herself in such a way. And what also, when you say independence, I also appreciate that when we have our Queen Latifahs, we have our MC Lights, we have our Lady of Rages, we have all different types of film MCs, and really MCs all together, that everybody doesn't have to be the same. We can celebrate everybody's style. We can celebrate everybody as they choose to be, whether, you are hip hop by the music, by the dance, by the fashion, by the culture in which it brings. We support that, and we definitely want to make certain of that, because what I dislike about some trends of hip hop is that it's just whatever's trending is what people want to do, what they want to see, what they feel is what's most important. When in all actuality, if you go back, and you look at your research, and then you look at people like Chance the Rapper, and you have those talented creators, and you have, Freddie Gibbs, Kendrick Lamar, you have all of these different artists that represent so much more than their music, their beats, their, all of those subsidiaries that support them. People like you said, Rob Real. Shout out to DJ Rob Real, because he also, not only is he a DJ, I believe also he sells like elderberry and
Yes, yes,
natural
yes.
tonics.
Since I ain't had an eczema breakout since I used his turmeric soap. Let me tell you.
Shout
Let
him
me
out.
tell
Come
you.
on.
Let me tell you. Common Sense Wellness had clear. It was, eczema turn
Yeah.
clear,
Yeah.
clear. Turmeric soap, clear. Have not had one since on it. Let me tell you. Oh God, let me tell you. Let me tell you. And Rob Real, another person of the community, met through a mutual friend. And we just been ever since. So he showed up. He showed up. I just going back to the MC things. Let me tell with the children were talking the other day, and they were bringing up Cardi B's outside song, outside. And so I was like, I like Cardi B too as well. And they kind of looking at me. And I was like, her album cuts. And they was like, what's an album cut? And I was like, oh God, oh God. We gotta stop.
Yeah.
Okay. Last 10 minutes of class, we're not talking about no math. We're gonna talk about how music used to come out, and the anticipation, and going to Circuit City and going to Best Buy and going to Target. I think it was Wednesdays was release day,
Yep.
and this day or go date or whatever it was that was in the mall. Like it was a thing. How having a 6 disc changer in the back of my car was a thing. And we went on this journey, and it was crazy because they were like, man, that's crazy, but they were interested. Um, because I told them about when I was their age and what I bought in the store. And I wasn't always, 41-year-old Miss Francis. At one point, I was 14-year-old Christina.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
I took them through that journey of that and album cuts, and how every Saturday morning I would cut on my radio, and I would sit in the windowsill and do my nails and dream about going other places. My mom had a van. I would climb on top of the van with my little Walkman and put my CD in, and that was my thing on Saturday morning. I would paint my nails. I would listen to music. I remember when He Can't Love You by Jagged Edge came out. In love with it. I remember the day it came out. I remember what I was doing. I could rap a bunch of albums from front to back, but I remember, was it Riding Dirty? I think it was Riding Dirty, and my brother had a Cadillac. I remember Space Age Pimping.
You,
I
A.
remember
Paula
the first time
MJG.
I
Yes,
heard it.
ma'am.
I was in a car full of women. Mika had black lipstick. I had never seen black lipstick before, and I was in this car, and all of these women piled up in this car, and they didn't have no babysitter for this little black girl right here, so they set me in the middle in the back seat, and I heard Space Age Pimping for the very first time in a car full of females. Can you imagine that? That Space Age Pimping in a car full of females.
New day, new age.
What?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Pimps?
Yeah. That there, when I tell you, I got chills hearing that piece, right? And I don't, my apologies for cutting you off. I just want to kind of build on that because, when we think about hip hop music, where we were, no matter that age, and groups like Jagged Edge too, and BBD and all those as well, all that is so important because I shared with Delano Mitchell in another podcast how hip hop music, especially hip hop, is a time machine. Where when you listen to the music, it takes you back, right? And I think that for you, that not only did it take you back, it gave you those memories so much so to create that for the community and the stakeholders that you service. I used to work, it was disc jockey at South Park Mall. I was
That's
yeah.
listen, I couldn't think of the name of it. I remember, let me tell you, like, man, the to close up the Cardi B story, because I want to say this.
Please.
Her album cuts, my favorite song off her album cuts be her Get Up Tens. The one where I'm gonna tell you the journey of how I got here. That I was the first one in my family to see six figures. I like, bro, where she take the time. It's always one song where she take the time to say, "Good job, Cardi."
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's the one that I like on every album, and telling them that, like, listen to that. But I want you guys to go home, listen to Get Up 10, and then come back and talk to me about it. I'll give you bonus points if you actually do it. Like, because I really want you to experience that. But I remember crazy the weekend that Stan proposed. I made it a mission to get every Jay-Z CD that had ever came out, and I was gonna put it in a box. And then I wanted the DVDs, because back then they used to do the DVDs, so I wanted the DVDs. I ordered them from Sam Goody, and Sam Goody fell through. So I had to go from store to store. I had to print out the list, and then I had to go from store to store to store to find every CD, every DVD, every, I walked in the store and ordered them. At that time, online was a thing, but I wasn't really, I was young. I didn't really. So I was, hey, I'm just going to walk in the store and tell them order all these things and pay for it. Well, some fell through. I went from store to store to store to store to store. He's from New York. So it was my goal to do Jay-Z's whole catalog is what it was. And then, and that was right when American Gangster. So I wanted everything up to American Gangster. And then I wanted all the Biggies. And I was going to give him Biggies on Biggie's birthday. But that's how much hip hop was a thing to me, because I had to give it to him with the significance of hip hop.
That's right. That's right.
Because that, like, bruh, everybody got an album. Everybody got a soundtrack. Something that's a thing. And it could, like, different parts of my life have different soundtracks. When he died, Jill Scott, Light of the Sun. When I wake up, everything gonna be beautiful. That's all I could say. I ain't had nothing else. I didn't have anything else. I had nothing else, but I just gotta wake up every day. So hip hop, some people use those songs as anthems, like pure anthems, like anthems.
Yeah. Mottos, mantras.
Get Up 10, man, what? No, I hadn't been a stripper. But boy, I had some down moments. I've had some down moments. And I know what it feels like to have people, like, be malice towards you on purpose, and you get through it and you see through it. Hip hop, songs period, but, like, hip hop was there for and is there for, man.
Yeah. Very
Black
much.
men. Black men. I got a homeboy who loved Jeezy. Like, he loved Jeezy. And that person is there for him when sometimes the music have to speak when you can't talk.
Yeah.
One of the loudest, hip hop is it's one of the loudest voices I know. Old people don't like it, but they know the beat. And if you give them something with a sample, they can connect to it. That's a loud voice. That's a loud voice.
That's right.
It's a loud voice to know you got to reach back to bring current. That's a loud voice. I was listening to Busta Rhymes, and he was talking about how it's their job to teach the youngins, but it's also their job to be receptive to new. That's a hip hop voice. That's a hip hop voice.
And Busta Rhymes, a hip hop legend too. Yes, please continue. Yes.
That's a hip hop voice who stood up, accepted an award, Went past his time because I got something to say and you're not gonna hush me up. I got something to say. You gonna hear me today. It's our job to teach the young, but also our job to accept the new. You want to change how people learn, then you got to change how you learn and be willing to learn every day. Do something different every day. You stop learning, you're dying.
That's right. Like sharks.
So when you say trending, that's them trying to reach on to. I want something that belongs to me.
Mm-hmm. 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 And hip hop is something that belongs to us all. And I mean, you broke it down like just so succinctly there, Christina, where, that music, when you said Jay-Z, I distinctly remember two songs. The one that really is prominent in my mind is Dead Presidents, when I was pregnant with my oldest son at the time.
See?
And with that verse, that made him smile, and his eyes said, "Pray for me. I do you one better and slay these niggas faithfully. Murder is a tough thing to digest. It's a slow process, but I ain't got nothing but time." Like that verse there really pushed me, especially when I gave birth to my son and with the unknown. Dead Presidents was one, Blueprint 2. Follow the news. You put on two tube socks. You couldn't walk in my shoes. I was dealt a bad hand. What else could I do? That song, I remember I was substituting at J.S. Clark Middle School. And yes, and I remember like one of the things that made it where my classroom management was pretty good, because I was subbing for 3 days in that class, was me saying that lyric to the students, where it was like, yeah, I understand where you all are coming from. At the same token, you can be exactly who you are and still be able to gain your education. Like, you don't have to change who you are completely. You are who you are, and never change or compromise your identity for anyone. So if you think you have to be one thing, there's an intersectionality of being so many different things. And going back into that music, and you answered one of the questions that I have for you about how hip hop represents the underrepresented, how it amplifies your advocacy, how it makes certain that people can connect. When we, again, Rob Real, where he's not only DJing using this music, but he's also, for me, that elderberry juice that he has, being able to take care of the community. But also, I appreciate what you say with Busta Rhymes, where, we are the old school now, we the aunties and the unks, and we have to be perceptive to the new. So as you are working in the community as an educator, as an advocate, as a community leader, all of these points that make you who you are and have made you be able to go through these times as the crusader that you are, is very comforting to hear that, especially today on our podcast, where we have our audience that'll listen to this and really understand that, hip hop culture is about that independent piece and making certain that people are comfortable with being who they are, but also being a better them. Just becoming a better you, which is the absolute goal. Not to change who you are completely, but to be a better you. As you said, your love letter to your late husband Stanley was to take that time to get all of that music. And so I share that too, that we're a digital age now. So ordering something online is just, let me grab my phone and press this button. But back then, there was no Google. There really wasn't a computer, or we didn't have those kind of cell phones.
It was back when Facebook was for college only. It was a members only situation. And you can keep your little MySpace over there with your cute little page. But over here,
Yes.
okay, I'm a Facebook girl, college club, okay? But yeah, it was man, like
It
you
was.
talk about Jay-Z. I remember, and this is crazy, but I remember when 444 came out,
Mm-hmm.
and I remember there was a group of listeners that was like, what is this? Like, why would he do this? And then I remembered a group of men. And bring it back. The shout out to Sylvester. Sylvester had this Facebook group called You Good Bro. And Stan would never let me in it, but he would tell me how insightful it was and how the men folk were in there checking on each other. And when 444 came out, Stan was like, man, this is life now. This is life right now. Like I can't think of the name of, but the one where he sampled I think it's called Smile, but he sampled Stevie Wonder. Like that whole song was a song full of samples. But Legacy was the one that stuck out for me. And it stuck out for me because I knew I had a father, but I didn't know him. I met him when I was 18. And one day we were sitting out and me and my father would take rides. You know, when I would go up to New Mexico, it's not very much to do out there. I think we represent probably about 5%. Just understand when I go to New Mexico, there's chatter that there's a new black woman in town. Okay. And she belonged to Charlie and Betty because she tall like them. They know exactly who I am when I get there. And so we would ride through the city. And one day he was telling me about Donny Hathaway. And he was telling me his recollection of Donny Hathaway and all of these things. And um when Legacy came on and it comes on, take it from me, someday we'll all be free. And I was like,
Yeah.
damn, that's Donny. So it made me listen to it. And then I listened to the words of it. And I was like, oh wow, this is a thing. Like this album is a thing. This is him going, man, I done learned a lot and I'm on the other side of 40, being 41 now. And it was his, hey, like, bruh, I didn't took y'all through everything. Change y'all clothes, put y'all on boats, took y'all to the Marcy projects. I married Bay. I've done all of these
Been to
things. But let me show you,
Paris. Yeah. Yeah.
what's really important. Legacy. Still nigga.
Yeah.
Still nigga.
Yeah. Yeah.
Still nigga. I remember having a conversation with Stan. He was like, you call me Haitian, but white people still call me nigga.
Still nigga, yeah. One nigga, two nigga,
Is
old
it
nigga, new nigga, still nigga.
still nigga? Still nigga. It's still I got a baseball cap with the little and every now and then when shit get too tough, I'm gonna walk out with my hat on. Cause it doesn't matter how much education, how much I advocate, how much she still out to see the growth. And sometimes, let me say this. Sometimes it ain't the white people that remind me that I'm still from Cedar Grove. That's just little Chris out of Cedar Grove. It don't matter how many kids I touch. It don't matter. It doesn't matter. They still gonna remind me who I am and where I come from. Humble yourself.
Legacy,
So
legacy, legacy, legacy. Yeah.
black excellence, baby.
Yeah.
The, you just man, the one where he said, God, crap. I think it was Nina Simone. I'm letting you down every day. What? The one where he talks about when he cheated? And
Yeah.
now I gotta look in my children's eyes. Let me tell you something
Yeah.
about this mistake right here. Not seeing
That's right.
when you gotta look in her eyes and tell her Santa Claus ain't real.
Yeah.
When your child get to Google what you did and found out why I went down on the elevator for real. What? You telling me, hey, don't do that. You're gonna have to face that mistake in a different way. Oh, okay, we don't talk about that though.
But he did. Not he was very exposing in that legacy piece of, that legendary status. And let's be real, Jay-Z didn't have to put that album out. He is a multi-millionaire with a billionaire wife who have these stakes where he never has to do another album, but he did that for the people. He did that for the culture where, get your credit straight. Stop dying behind these streets that you don't even own. Taking that grown man mentality and putting it where the people can listen. So those who heard it got it. And then those who, oh, well, that's not trending. It didn't, make me want to twerk or anything. Well, the message was lost, unfortunately, and hopefully they'll be able to gain that someplace else. So when we think about legacy, and so we've talked about these great names, but also Christena Francis is also a big name, right? From our hometown and what you do and what you continue to do, my dear. What is that legacy as a champion advocate that you are? What is that legacy that you are leaving? And even in the future, what are some other great things that you want to leave for the future generations?
Um, I want first and most formally, my biggest thing is like, bruh, she helped. She showed up. I've opened up my home. She helped. Like she was here and she helped. And when I saw her, I got some hope of some sort. She gave me something. She made me smile. When she walked in the room, somebody told me the other day, and it was crazy because I knew it wasn't gonna go nowhere. I knew. I wouldn't even, sir, this ain't finna go past this moment. I'm sitting here looking at you. I knew that going into it. And what he told me, he said, I knew if we ever got together, I would never lack nothing. Because whenever you walked in the room, you carried light, you carried love, and you carried hope. So if anything, like, did you see my light? When you saw me, did I make you turn your back on God? Or did I give you hope and said, there's a little bit of good in the earth? There's some good in the earth. As far as education, I may or may not be your favorite teacher, but did I teach you something? Whether it be something about math or something to change your life forever. Did I ever talk to you about making a healthy decision? Because I'm gonna preach. It is what it is. I'm gonna preach. I tried. Every at the end of the year, I have them write a letter and every the speeches. I don't care. I'm gonna say them every year. New set of kids, new speeches. Learn how to make an effective decision. And then lastly, with my art, were you able to see my heart along the way? Because I was criticized when I was younger for wearing my heart on my sleeve, and now I put it on canvas. I put it in jewelry. I put it in words or whatever. Like, were you able to see my heart in all of it? Because it's a genuine spirit. As a woman with no children, and I'm 41, so God, you got till 42. Okay, God, you better just, hey, Yahweh, if you gonna do it, the time is now. So look, since I'm put it out there, but because I have no seed, I've thought about legacy, and that gave me not a sense of urgency, but it made it more important to have a voice that was heard, because that's gonna be all I leave, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And so those are the things. Did you see my heart in my art? Did I teach you anything? I don't care what it is. Did I teach you anything? Good, bad, or indifferent? Is it something you can remember to change your life forever? And did I help? Did I help? Because I didn't get here at all without help. No man's an island, and I definitely wouldn't want. So that's it.
And that encompasses a lot, so much to you. That intersectionality of the art, the fashion, the investment of others. Again, at the very beginning of our podcast, Christina, we talked about family not being related. So, you have a lot of children. As an educator, you are a mom to a mom to the students, even parents to the parent, even. So, whether or not give that physical birth, I think that metaphysically, God has and continues to put you in a place where you're still raising children. You're still in a space where you are making a difference and a positive impact, especially where we're from. And for that, if it means anything coming from me, I am absolutely proud of who you are, what you do, taking that responsibility, that sense of urgency to make certain that every Saturday is just one of the many things that you do, making them do those speeches in that math class where you're doing the math. Yeah, you got this leap test, which is part of, your job satisfaction, and making them know that, hey, this is important to me, but also making it important to them and making them important and having them to see that for self, that there can never be taken away. And they may not remember exactly the objectives that you've taught, but they will never forget how you made them feel. That I absolutely know that they will never forget how they feel when they were with you and what you've taught them. So I appreciate the advice. I want to ask you one more question. I want to honor your time, but I also want to ask you one more question before we come off of this podcast. We talked about legacy. We talked about your future. We talked about advocacy. I want to talk about the hip hop in you. Okay, this will be my very last question. If you were a hip hop artist, what would your stage name be and why?
Ooh. 13 the storyteller.
13 the storyteller. Okay, break that down for us. 13 the storyteller.
All right, so I I like hip hop that tells stories. I like the journey of the story. Um, 13 is my favorite number. Some people don't like it. I love it. I was born May 13th. I was born on Mother's Day. I feel like I was the perfect gift for my mom. And I was born in the last inch. I was like 11:40. Had 20 minutes. You got 20 minutes to get here, kid, before you ruin my surprise for her. Because they thought I was gonna be a boy. So the guy was like, you got 20 minutes. You got 20 minutes to make your interest, kid. So but yeah, 13 the storyteller, because I would tell a story. And there's something you remember a story. And it would keep on the legend of, or not the legend, it would keep on the tradition of folk tales, you know. Um, and I could rap it, I could sing it, I could poetry it, I could whatever. But it would always be a story. I would always tell a story. And it would be art in a different way. It would be music, but it would be a story. I could put it in a book or I could put it to a beat, you know. I could call it B&B. I could call it books and beats because it could be a thing. So it would be 13 the storyteller.
13 the storyteller. Well, you heard it here first, hip hop fam, that 13 the storyteller, Christena Francis. And she, not to say you won't, 41 still young, Queen. That's still a young age, right? We're seasoned. Seasoned, okay?
Yes. Yes.
So
I like the knowledge of 41. I like this season of knowing,
there you
you
go.
know.
And then getting to 50, oh yes, as we continue to age on and remember those
Gracefully
things.
looking like we looking.
Oh,
Grace.
you better tell them how we're looking. Even those nails. Now I want you got to say something about those nails, Queen, because when I mean,
Aaliyah and AVF, like that's my girl. We've been together since 2020. I met her in the panoramic or the pandemic, whatever y'all want to call it. But yeah, so Leah's my girl, Aaliyah Fuller at AVF. If I'm gonna give her a shout out, I'm gonna shout it out right. Aaliyah, if Aaliyah is 25, I'm surprised. Aaliyah is a very, very, very young girl. I consider her one of my nieces. You know, me and Leah have gone through some things. She had a baby, and I remember the day I found out she was probably looked at her and like an old woman. I say, "Ooh, that girl carrying." Before she even told me, because they come with age. You see that spread, and it's a baby in there. So
mm-hmm.
we've been through some things, she and I. But she's a young entrepreneur. We started in her home. She was licensed. She had did the work, but she had a little space in her home. And then we moved from her home, and she was like, I got to give me a building. I got to give me a building. And I watched her go through the struggle to find a building. And then I watched her get a building. And then she got it painted, did all the customization. And then I watched her go through that struggle of them telling her, this isn't good enough, and you can't use this as a nail shop. And so I watched her go through that struggle. And then now she's in the place where she is now over on Uri Drive, AVF Nails, AVF Nails on Instagram and Facebook. But I watched her go through that struggle, and I was committed to her as that's my nail girl. Now I got my backups that I acquired when she had the baby because she had to go on maternity leave.
Mm-hmm.
But that's my main thing. I'm going to always come to her first.
AVF, shout out to AVF. Shout out to that story of excellence. You have brought such richness to the podcast. I would also want to make a statement that the Hip Hop Scholar podcast will be making a donation to Cereal on Saturdays to make certain that the families and the communities continue to enjoy that. So I wanted to put that on. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you.
Of course.
Gotta feed them, baby.
We got to. I want to support you just as you support others. You are welcome to the podcast at any time. And representing our hometown, I'm just thrilled and just honored to know you, my dear. I really am.
Thank you. Thank you. Anytime you need me, I'm on my way.
Always.
On my way.
Yes, ma'am.
With meals on.
I know. I already know that, and I'm glad to share that with the Hip Hop Scholar family. With that, this is another wonderful, powerful episode of the Hip Hop Scholar podcast. With that said, we'll see you on the next one. Peace.